Hello, hello. Welcome to the Get at Gaming Plus podcast. I am Alex,
I'm Ben.
and we are your podcast to talk about whatever we like. So whether that is video games, we're Get at Gaming, so we got some gaming there. We got some movies, Get at Movies. Anime, Get at Anime. We got all the things that we like here, and we hope that you like it too. If you're new here, because thinking that follow button, whether that's or subscribe, whether that is on Spotify or whatever podcast service you're listening to, or on YouTube at youtube.com/slash get at it gaming. You can subscribe there and do all the fun stuff there. Speaking of get at gaming YouTube, of course I cough already, not even a minute in. But speaking of the YouTube, we do have a YouTube video up of our latest um, review of the Cryptmaster. It was a game provided to us by Akapara Games, and it's a treat for sure. We're gonna have another more in-depth podcast about it at some point here, but yeah, we do have like a quick little review up just to show what we like about the game, what we don't like about the game, and we would appreciate if you could go over there and check it out. Um, but yeah, how you doing today, Ben?
Good, good. I missed on the review, but I'm excited to talk about that game that more in depth. Um, other than that, I'm excited. I'm actually very more excited about this episode than any of the other episodes
Mm-hmm.
we've done. And I don't know if I'm allowed to do a spoiler or not. Um,
You can, sure.
basically we have hit over. We're a little over, but we've hit 200 episodes, um, which in my mind is absolutely crazy.
It definitely is for a not company um with only two of us here doing a podcast. Used to be, yeah, we'll talk about like the history of it again and all that, just for newcomers and all that. But it's just interesting to see that it's just been us for the past few years now doing either weekly or bi-weekly, and now we've kind of hit it right with the bi-weekly stuff, and we somehow are still trucking along after 4 years of this or whatever.
It's
So
it's so insane to think about it. You know when I had this idea years and years ago, it was just a dream. And to get to 200 episodes, which, just to break some knowledge to people, our episodes we've had over 200 episodes have either been downloaded or streamed
mhm,
7,200 times.
it's a lot.
Yeah. And I never thought I would see a point where I thought when we were going to do this, Alex, I literally thought, like, man, if I get 5 downloads, I'm super ecstatic.
Yeah,
Um, and we've have episodes that have just blown up.
we
Um,
have.
we should break down some of the history, because I don't think we've ever broke down the history ever in a podcast of how everything started. But it all really started when I wanted to do one, and I talked to our buddy Spencer, who worked at a GameStop, and said, "Hey, I want to do this podcast, and I think we should do it together."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, you get the things ready, you get the things running, let me know." I I go back in my mind. I don't think he believed that we were gonna get it done.
Probably not. Like, I mean, let's
You
be
know,
honest. Like, I don't know. Like, that's a huge feat for someone who, I don't know. This is your first rodeo. Like, this is your first
yeah,
rodeo for it, and knowing how hard it is to set that stuff up, at least initially, or at least how it could be, not YouTube, but like through Spotify and iTunes and all that kind of stuff, knowing how hard that is, Spencer was probably just like, you know what? Yeah, if you do all the hard stuff, then sure, you already did the hard stuff, and so we should at least try it out. But like you said, yeah, maybe he didn't expect you to actually get it working, and
Yeah,
maybe it was kind of
yeah.
just a throwaway, like, sure, if you ever do this. But then you proved him wrong.
I think
You
the
did it.
crazy thing was is before we were just doing straight Spotify, the app, the company was Anchor, and they made it easy to do a podcast. I have a friend of mine that is no longer with us, but he did a radio show. He used to be in radio when I was younger, and he did a radio show where he would interview people. And I reached out to him on Facebook and go, "Hey, how can I do this?" He's like, "It's super simple. You do this, you
Mhm.
put it there, it launches everywhere." And so our first episode, to give some background, was January 6th, 2020 was our first episode, and it was our top games of 2019. Thinking about that just
So,
blows my mind.
I mean, we'll get into this here in a second. I wasn't on that episode, but whenever I tell people when so there's a lot of, man, I'm backtracking a lot. This is a ramble podcast. Um Whenever someone asks me how should I, or like, oh, you have a podcast? Cool, I'll listen to it. I specifically tell them, don't listen to the beginning stuff. like like I don't want to get rid of it because I don't know how hard that hurts your stuff, you know? Um but at the same time, that's not us anymore.
Right.
And it hasn't been in a long time, that I'm afraid that people who are coming into this and want to start from the beginning, because I do that with podcasts. Like, I try to start from the beginning if it's like something like this, um that isn't necessarily a news show, although granted it used to be. um I want to start from the beginning. And so, yeah, whenever someone asks me, like, how do I watch it or how do I do this, and I'll be like, oh, you can find us here, here, and here. Don't listen to the first year or something like that. Like, that's kind of how I try to say. I'm like, listen to newer stuff. Listen to the stuff from the past couple years, I would say. Like, that's where we really changed the format. That's where we really
Oh yeah.
done things. Like, I mean, you can talk about how it was without me initially, but like, I wasn't always on this show. Um, and that's strange for me to think about because
Yeah.
I feel like I put a lot of effort into it might not look like it, it might not seem like it, but I feel like I put a lot of effort into this in our like stuff here. As you can see, I mean, it's a generic background from Animal Crossing. But I mean, without, not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to, you know what? Sure. Without me, we wouldn't have a logo. Without me, we wouldn't have video. Without me, we wouldn't have been streaming. Without me, um, no offense, I don't know how long the podcast would have lasted.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So when me and Spencer were doing it, we were both like definitely amateurs in this. And so
We still
he
are.
would,
Let's be
oh
honest.
yeah, he would come over Friday night, right around 9 o'clock. We would record a couple episodes. The amount of time it took to get my computer up to par, get everything running, get everything that we needed, it's like 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Um, and so, it took so much time and effort. Um, one second, sorry.
You're good.
It just took so much time and effort. And I think the thing that I learned the most is I needed a new PC, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did a couple episodes, and Spencer comes to me and goes, "Look, I feel like we're missing something. Would you be cool if I bring my buddy Alex in? I've known him for a long time." It's like, sure. And of course, through my mind, I'm like, I mean, is this going to work? Because I wanted it just two people and then bring
Yeah.
in guests.
Oh
But then
man,
when you
this
came
loser
on,
is gonna show up here. He's gonna ruin the show.
it was completely different.
Yeah.
And I know the best part was is after I talked to Alex and got to know him, we had multiple ideas that were exactly the same. And so, um, unfortunately, Spencer was just taking on so much stuff. And when he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna leave for good,"
Yeah.
um, that's when we changed this entire format of the show.
Which is about like
But
a year in, I want to say.
yeah, but if you look at the things we've done, we have the logo, the Get Out of Gaming logo we had made. Our buddy Rob did that. We have an intro and outro, not only just for the regular shows, but our holiday shows.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all things that we had never thought about doing
Commissioned.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we went through Fiverr.
Yeah.
Um, even the YouTube page was like Alex said, it was his idea. We've grown the YouTube page as well. And I
Yeah.
think what's even crazier about that is I didn't want to be on YouTube really.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess just because I'm an older guy,
Yeah.
but then there's also been other YouTubers like Mort and a couple of these other guys are, I would say, close to my age group that are doing well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the humble beginnings where even when Alex would come over, so Alex and Spencer would come over 9 o'clock on Fridays, usually, sometimes Saturdays, rarely on Saturdays, mostly Fridays.
Yeah.
I had an all in one Lenovo touchscreen computer, and it could not handle the mics and it couldn't handle what we were trying to input
Banana.
wise. We had, yeah. So the app I was using was a free app from England. And the only way to do it, we had to download an add on called Banana. And even then,
People
it
still
took an,
talk about that program. Apparently, it works well for certain
yeah.
people, but maybe it does because they weren't using a bad computer like how we were.
What's crazy was it would take us an hour, sometimes 2 hours, just to get the PC so we could run
Mm-hmm.
that and we could record. Um, and I'm surprised that I'm surprised any of us are still doing it after that. But we just had so much fun doing it and like hanging out and just talking video games. We had some crazy stuff. Um, stories of like how we've never told the story of how this all started. So Alex came in, was it episode 5,
Yeah,
right?
episode 5. It was because I was looking at it earlier. The ranking, we rank the Nintendo systems.
Yeah, that was your first episode. Um,
I don't want to listen to it again. Like, I feel like I'm probably really bad. But also, as we've said, like we had humble beginnings. We had really horrible mics, or not horrible mics, I should say. Blue
we had Blue
Yetis are
Yetis.
fine, but they were too close together. We were in the room that you're in currently. And so there's probably more echo because we were all close together. Um, there was just it was doomed to fail. Um,
On a
and
foldable table
yeah,
that Eric
exactly.
gave me.
That probably like resonated. I think it did. Like every time like we moved something, the mics would shake, and then you would hear the boom of all that. Because they don't have like the shock stuff like how our current mics have.
Right.
Um, but yeah, what a time. And then the pandemic happened, and after a while we were like, hey, we probably shouldn't see each other for a bit. And so we tried to figure out ways to do this. I don't think we did Discord right away. We used Zoom if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we did Zoom where it worked pretty okay.
Yeah, because it
Um,
had its own recording thing, and because of COVID, it had what do you call it? It had free however long stuff. Like now it costs money, I believe, for a certain amount, but like back then they were like, "Oh, we want to encourage everyone to not go outside, so here's a way to do that." Um and after a while, Zoom just wasn't working quite right. It was like kind of scattered, and we wanted to record video, or I wanted to record video. So I built everything into OBS, which is what we currently use, on my laptop. I think at the time it was awful. My laptop was awful. And so I did all of that. I used a webcam, you had a webcam, and Spencer had a webcam, and we all ended up using Discord. I don't even think we had the server yet, but we were doing it through Discord calls and did some stuff there, and then like a year passed, and then that's when it just became the two of us. Like, I want to say after an E3 or after a June
Yeah.
event, Spencer was kind of just like, "Hey guys, I'm not feeling it. Peace out," and did like the GIF where he disappeared. Um, so
Well, and
yeah,
he had so much stuff going on at that point. Um, and I'm hoping for one of our holiday episodes, we can get him back for an episode, which would be great.
yeah,
Um, and so after Spencer left, Alex and I had conversations, and I was like, I want to keep this going. Do you?
mm,
He's like, yeah. I will say that we've only had one episode where we've actually done it together, but other than that, we've continued to record like this.
it's just way
Um,
easier for
yeah,
us, for what we do now. If we decide to, I don't know, get like a, I don't know, different houses, different studio, something like that, then it might be more beneficial to actually record in studio. But as of right now, for what we do, I think this is perfect. I still think it's perfect, and because of guests, so guests aren't
yeah.
awkwardly added to things. I'm gonna, I'm gonna bring this up. I don't really care, but um one of the new things I don't like about, I'm going to talk about one of our favorites, like Kind of Funny, right? One of the things I don't like is like, because they went to a awesome studio, it's really hard to put virtual guests on their shows, and so it's very awkward to just have them on in the background, as like a webcam, and then the two people are in front. And I don't want that to happen, and so that's why. And also it'd just be harder for us because it's not like we have a video wall, we don't have a budget. So
Yeah.
so because of that, I think it makes it easier and more approachable for people to get in be a guest, because we're just like, oh, do you want to be a guest? Cool. Like, I've reached out to plenty people. I don't want to say specifics or anything, but like, if I reach out to someone and they're kind of interested, um, they I'll be like, cool, here's what you do. I'll give you the link to our Discord. You will do these things and abide by the rules. And then once you're all in, I will add this special role to you. And now you can see this stuff. And now you are a special guest and you can jump in whenever. Um, honestly, like, if I thought about this, we could have just had people jump in. Like, I mean, kind of like how we did that one stream one time.
Oh yeah.
Like, we should now we actually have a server filled with people. Um, we could kind of be like, hey, feel free to jump in on the call and then talk to us whenever, and then jump out or whatever. And I think that would work fine. Um, but yeah, it's just way more approachable and easier. And the way I've approached it with other people as well. We have cameras. I would prefer if you have a camera, but if you don't, no big deal, I guess.
Yeah.
Because whatever, the product is you. Just because you don't have a camera or you don't want a camera doesn't mean we can't still enjoy you. So yeah, because I've had some people recently who I've talked to who seemed, yeah, I don't know if he's listening, but who seemed trepidatious, didn't really want to do the podcast, but then after listening to the podcast is like, okay, I feel like I could vibe with you guys. Um, and so see, I don't know if that's an insult or if that is a compliment.
Right.
Because on one
Well,
hand,
I
it's
think
like, oh, maybe you guys are so bad that I think I'm fine, or maybe we just vibe well, and so whatever.
I definitely think one thing that we did change going forward that it's been something we've been doing for a while now. Two things: one, having guests, and two, doing pre-recording Christmas episodes so Alex and I could take a break. I we never really did it before, and I will tell you, doing it now, it is it's so good to come back because we're so refreshed. And I think the guest part has been good because doing it this format, if you're in another country or if you're in another time zone, it's okay. We can work it out.
Yeah,
Um, we've had some awesome guests in the show. Our buddy Zach's been on the show. Michaela's been on a couple episodes. We have some more guests in line.
we
Um,
had a whole episode about Simpsons with Vex in
yeah,
the good old
Vex.
Australia.
Yeah. And so I think you look about our reach and what we've done is pretty impressive. The
Mhm.
one thing I wanted to say was when Alex is gonna laugh. So when Alex would come over, he always would bring like a Mountain Dew or something like that. But I would brew a cup of coffee. Me and Spencer would down 90% of this full thing of coffee. And then every now and then Alex would be like, I need some of your coffee. I'm like, no worries. I think one night we did 2 pots because we did one episode. We did the old episode of Party Up, and then
That's
we did
right.
the other episode. We did like 3 episodes in one night, people. And I will tell you, I was exhausted. And then when you do game shows, you're supposed to be like chipper.
We should have
We
done the
were,
game shows first. That was our
yeah,
fault.
we were dying. We were at that point. I was so exhausted. I had
To be
3.
fair, that was my fault. I tried to make us do different things to hit different avenues, and I mean we did see that game shows are popular. They're still popular, and maybe we have something in the works for the future.
Me and Alex and I have been working on a game show for a while.
We have logos.
Yeah,
We just don't have the presence, and like
yeah.
once I'm able to do something like that, then we can discuss it further and you all can
I don't
see
want
it.
to. Yeah, I'm not putting a timeline in it, but I was thinking if we could get it done before, like after first of the year, when we come back from break, we get some people scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, would be great. But it was just funny because Alex doesn't drink coffee ever really, and here he is with a Mountain Dew first, and then this and the game shows. They were the dating game where you had to come up with a date, and then there would be several products that would say come up with a date, and whoever was closest, you got either points or points deducted. And then the other one that we did was that Party Up. That was the second one where it was like the
Well, Party Up was just the games. Party Chat was what we called the podcast.
yeah, there was like 20 questions. So
Yeah,
basically,
20.
we would have a
Yeah, we did video game 20 questions, which like everyone does everywhere, so it's not like we're
right.
stealing it. Um and I'm pretty sure we always I think the team that I was on always won.
I remember one episode because I used to cut out the dead parts where we weren't talking.
Mhm.
There was one episode, Alex. There was so many dead parts. I cut out at least 8 minutes of dead parts of just like,
Because it's just us thinking, but then
yeah,
also because our mics were not as good, maybe maybe we were doing onomatopoeias like
yeah,
but it didn't pick it up.
yeah. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. Um, I think going back on it, would I do it again till 2 in the morning? Absolutely not. But it's part of our history.
Yeah.
So
So someone's talking to Ben right now for audio listeners.
yeah, my son just let the dogs out. I was like, hey, make sure you stand here to let him back in. And he just gave me a look. I'm like, I can't let him back in.
Yeah, you're recording. You're doing something
I'm
important.
recording.
I
This is our
think,
200.
yeah, over 200 episodes. Come on,
This is our 200 episode. Fool.
200 episode?
Yeah.
we're recording right now.
As you can hear the dogs.
Now I feel like Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. It's like, no, you can't speak to Jackie. No, you can't speak to Jackie. He wants to speak to you.
It's like we're filming a movie.
Yeah. You're wasting all of our film.
It's so funny because, like, you know, I remember telling my wife, I said, hey, and this is really important. She doesn't listen to the podcast. I really think she downloads them. That's her thing.
She doesn't need to listen to the podcast. It's not like, obviously, like, it's not like we really insult anyone or talk bad about anyone who are in our personal lives for the most part. But, like, it's just like, I know certain people and I appreciate that you want to be supportive. You're gonna hate this show, so just don't listen to it.
My wife has been extremely supportive. So when I said I wanted to do it for Christmas, she figured out what mic I needed, and she bought me my Blue Yeti, which I think is incredibly good for spouses to do that. I mean, I'm sure, Alex, there's days where I'm like, I can't believe your wife lets you do this every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Now, as of today, because my wife works in the schools, she was in bed by 7:30. It's end of the year, but I think that is what it is. She's been a big supporter of the show, but we've got like so many of our other friends that we've had and friends we made that have been supportive of the show, which has been pretty crazy. We've even had, this is the first time in the last year or so we've had sponsors. We've never had a sponsor before, and you know, we've got that game we did a review for. That was a game they gave us code for, 2 codes to be completely honest, which threw me for a loop.
They reached out to us, which was the weirdest thing that I've ever seen, but cool. And they were completely chill about everything. I don't even know if they actually expect the second thing that we said we were going to do, but we're still going to do it anyway.
And we're going to send it to them too.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I appreciate that again, Akapara Games, if you're listening. Sorry, Xavier. Thank you so much for the opportunity, because that was pretty cool. But yeah, we would love to see more things like that. We did a video. I did a video. I'm gonna be honest. I did a video recently in a day, and I thought it ended up pretty good for a day's work. I would like to do more things like that just on my own and just post it to our YouTube channel, but gotta find the time. And also, a thing I ran into, which was a pain with that particular review, is that I thought about it at the very beginning when we first started playing the game. I was like, I should record this, and then I didn't. And then that day I was like, I need to record stuff, and so I just like did random things in the game to record. So like, if I ever do some sort of review, if we ever do some sort of review or something again, I need to remember to just record the whole thing and just have just the video game and all of that on there, because it just saves the headache.
Well, and he did it. I was sick. I was really sick when he did it, and we needed to get it out, and he did it. And I was like, this is really good.
All before my vacation.
Yeah, all before his vacation. And if you look, it's done well on YouTube. So that is something else that I'm very proud of. And it's crazy. We talk about people that have like worked with us and partnered with us. Do you know what would have been really nice is when we were back recording at like 2 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the morning, if we had Magic Mind back then. That'd have been great. But we didn't.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. Because yeah, with Magic Mind, we were up so late and like you said, we were just drinking a ton of coffee, and just not functioning correctly. Whereas with something like Magic Mind in the beginning of the day, when I take it, I have energy throughout the whole day. I don't really feel sleepy at certain points as well either. So taking a Magic Mind, and then being able to, we would be able to do that. We would have the energy for those old episodes of Party Up. We would actually be talking a ton and not have that dead air, like you said, when you had to clip all of that out. But Magic Mind, friend of the show here, um, they have a product here where it has all natural ingredients, sourced from the best suppliers that they could find. It's no sugar, nut free, vegan, keto, and paleo friendly. If you go to magicmind.com/slash get at it games, you can get up to 56% off your first subscription or 20% off a one-time purchase with the code get at it 20. Again, that's magicmind.com/GETATIGAMES. And the code is get at it 20. So GETATIT20. We recommend it because, yeah, we've been using it now for quite a while, and we really do see a difference. We can stay energized more, we're it's a lot easier to do these podcasts. Like, yes, we're not staying up until 2 anymore, but I mean, we
Oh
start
God,
these
no.
we start these
God, no.
at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, sometimes
Yeah.
go to 11 p.m. It's not as late as we used to do, but like it still gets kind of late. So thankfully, because of Magic Mind, like we have the energy to continue and just do this show. So we really do appreciate them. So again, if you go to magicmind.com/slash get at games, you can get those special deals there. But if you don't like it, it's totally fine. You can go on Magic Mind. They have 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. If you don't like it, they will generally like refund you within like 3 to 4 hours, which is really good compared to other products in general. Like some products, take quite a while, or they might not even give you a refund. At least with Magic Mind's 100% money back guarantee. If you don't like it, if you don't like any of that, but yeah, we like it here. We appreciate it. We appreciate them being a friend of the show and giving us this opportunity. Again, that is magicmind.com/slash get at it games with code get at it 20. magicmind.com/get at it games with code GETATIT20. Get at it 20.
If we had Magic Mind back when we were playing the game shows, I might actually have won some. I don't think there was very rarely I won anything at all. Uh, I did really well on the dates one, because like I would get closer to the dates, but sometimes I was so far off, and that game was so crazy because we had 10 titles,
Yeah.
and you could be ahead at the beginning, right? And so it would be the three of us. So it'd be two people on the podcast would go against each other.
Mhm.
One person would come up with a list. And there's days where I'm like, I was on it, you know? I was on it. It was great. And then there was days I was so not on it.
Well, there are days where like Spencer would be like, or you, let's be honest. Spencer would be like, all right, there's a theme to this. They're all Genesis games. I'm like, I didn't have a Genesis. Why are we doing Genesis games? This doesn't make any sense. Or with you as well, we had where you would do a lot of NES games. I'm like, I'm not super familiar with NES at that time. I'm more familiar now because of you, but like, I don't know all these random things. I didn't know Akari Warriors like before you. I didn't know a lot of these random things. I knew the bigger things like Bonk's Adventure. I knew
Right.
Little Samson, stuff like that. But like, yeah, I didn't know these random things that you were throwing out. So yeah, it just made that game a lot harder
I
for
will throw
for
one
me to
out there
get.
that I did that. Oh my God. I thought you and Spencer were so pissed. So during 20 questions, I would pick these obscure titles, like Alex said. So let me just bring this one to your attention to see if you remember it. Last Battle, Sega Genesis.
Yep, I remember that specifically.
Oh my God, they couldn't get it, and I was like, basically, which is Fist of the North Star
Yeah.
over in Japan, but they called it Last Battle here because people were like, "Anime? What's anime?" Back in the
Or it's
90s.
like Dragon Power or whatever.
Yes, it's exactly that. And so when I did it, I remember, I don't know if it was like the sheer tiredness of everybody in the group. They're like, "Why would you pick that? No one knows what that is." I know Spencer was probably the most mad because he's like, "Why did you pick it?" I literally thought that, "Oh God, they'll get this right." Um,
Hmm.
it was such an obscure Sega game. Um, I should have done like Beyond Odyssey or something along those lines, or you know, but I didn't want to make it easy because sometimes when it was easy, we got it in like around 10, right? Or 11.
Yeah.
Let's just say after that, wasn't allowed to pick for a while.
Yeah, I think that actually was true.
Yeah,
We're just like, all right, you're like, was it me? Is it me this week? And we're like, no, it's Spencer.
I think Spencer was more pissed than you were because he was just like, "What the hell was that?" Like
Yeah.
legitimately. Um, and I think with us going forward, I don't want to talk too much about it because we did some planning and then we just kind of put it on the back burner. We want to do a game show that's that much fun, and we want to do it with guests.
Yeah.
Um, one thing I will say going into past 200 is I want to do a shout out to anybody that streams, has a podcast, um, does any sort of social media whatsoever. If you want to be on the show, either get a hold of us on our X um, site or get a hold of us on our Facebook page and just let us know. We'll talk and we'll get, because we've had some guests on here that are streamers. We have some more people. I know we talked about a friend of ours that speed runs. I'd love to get him on just to talk about speed running.
Yeah, I think our email, I don't want to say our email, but I think our email is available through our YouTube. I think it might be there.
I think
So
it
you
is
can,
as
so
well.
you can also find us there if you want to shoot us an email. I just don't like including emails on social media because then you just get a lot more just mindless stuff. So a lot more spam. So that's why it's not there. Or if we do have an email, we'd spell the email out like .com or at or whatever you actually write at. So then the bots don't find it. Um, but yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I would appreciate it. Yeah, if you or anyone out there knows anyone who does anything fun on that came out wrong. If you know anyone out there who uh does streaming or like stuff that is related to us content, YouTube, Twitch, even just runs a social media, like that'd be an interesting podcast to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about
Oh yeah.
because we're not savvy compared to other places.
No, we're not.
I mean, I forget that we have a Twitter every once in a while. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I go there, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't posted in a while, huh?
Oh, we have that. We have Threads. We have Instagram. Instagram is full of a bunch of spam. Like I think almost all of our followers are spam. Uh, or,
Probably, and
or
then Threads is was supposed to be the Twitter killer, and then it never became that. So
no.
I don't think it's worth it to for now to even really continue with that. Our real thing that's helping us because we have that initial boost from it all beginning is our Facebook, even though Facebook is probably the worst place that we're at as far as um a cesspool of
Yeah.
comments and stuff, but we thankfully have not fallen into that yet, so we get interesting, like we get nice people liking our things, we get people writing comments occasionally, so like we're in that nice little place where The weirdos don't know we exist yet. So that's kind of nice. Um,
Yeah, I think, and our Facebook people, when they make their comments and stuff, are really just a great bunch of people.
yeah.
I do want to throw this out here because we were talking about people that if you do streaming or whatever, I would love, and Alex knows this, he's going to just roll his eyes. I would love somebody that does like the paranormal investigations. I would love to have you in October, just on an episode. I've done countless searches on Facebook to find groups to be like, we'll be on your podcast. Let's talk about it. Like, I
Too spooky.
want to, because getting Alex to play a horror game is not going to happen. Um,
Closest thing
uh,
will be BioShock.
yeah, that would be it. Um, and so I don't think we can't do like one where like, oh, let's talk about our favorite games. That's scary because Alex could be like, okay, Bioshock. What
Yeah.
else?
So
Bioshock 2.
I'm gonna be honest with you as well. When we first got codes for Cryptmaster, I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a spooky game, but I have to play it because like they gave us codes, so like I should at least give this a chance." And thankfully, it wasn't spooky. Like the art style and stuff is creepy, but like very illustrated, very much a comic type stuff. Like it has that gothic horror to it, but it's not scary. And so that's why
Right,
I
right.
was afraid of initially. Um, but like, yeah, no, I don't play scary games. I don't know if you remember me streaming Amori like years ago
Yeah,
when like that live action hand came out of nowhere. I was like, oh nope, nope, nope. And then that was the last time I played that game.
that's, I would love like a paranormal group because number one, I watch Ghost Hunters and a couple of those shows. Um, but I think it'd be great to get him on the show just to talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want to go with you on the trip. I don't want to go to a scary
Oh
place.
no, no,
I don't
no.
want to do that.
I'm not going to that
No.
one house or whatever in Indiana.
Oh
That's not.
no.
No. I think they turned that into a bed and breakfast.
What?
Yeah, the house in Indiana, unless maybe it got destroyed finally. But there was like that really haunted house or whatever.
Oh
And
yeah.
then I think they turned it into like a bed and breakfast where it's like it is haunted. You can stay here for a little bit and then enjoy the maybe haunting experience. Who knows? Um but like yeah, no, I'm not doing any of that. I don't know if you're aware of I don't know if I talked about this on the show before. Um Also, I love how we were like, oh yeah, this episode won't be that long, and then it's already long. But but I don't know if you're aware of them. There's this group called Chilluminati. I don't know if I've talked about them before. So I used to listen to them a lot. They even came to Indiana like Indie PopCon once and did a live thing there. Um, but it consists of uh Mathis, I forget his name, Mathis something. He like the main guy. And then it has Alex Fossiani, so you might know him from like
Oh
Super
yeah.
Beard Bros and stuff like that. And then the other person is Jesse Cox, which you might know from Jesse Cox and like Cox and Crendor and stuff like that. And so it's hilarious because the episode will be like um let's talk about the grays, about like like the gray aliens, and we'll talk about this, or let's talk about this type of ghost, and like that, and it's like factual like encounters and stuff like that they find all these this information about it. And so you have Mathis who's like really interested in it and like really believes it. um and then you have like Alex Ossiani, who's also like kind of believing it but also kind of like um skeptical about it. And then you have Jesse Cox being like, nope, nope, it's not real, I don't want it, nope, I'm scared of it, but if it's a lady ghost, that'd be cool. And like he's just like that kind of stuff. Like it's a really fun dynamic. I would love to talk to them at some point. That'd be a like a huge get for
I
us.
remember, I think it was last year. I don't know which group it is, but now on Max we have like Discovery and TLC and all those.
Mhm.
And then I think one other two of the others where they do all the paranormal shows.
Mhm.
They were gonna go and spend a couple days at the house that the movie The Conjuring was made
Oh,
about.
wow.
And I guess things got really crazy at the second night that they didn't stay. And so like I gotta find that episode, but like if you would have been like calling me going, "Hey Ben, we're gonna go, we're gonna spend the night, a couple nights, and we're gonna like ask questions to stir things up in the house that the Conjuring movie was made about. Would you like to go?" I would really be a very quick thing of absolutely not. I love those shows. I don't want to be involved in like so if there's
And yet you
I
want me to be there.
yeah, well, I think if we did a talk with some paranormal groups, that'd be
Mhm.
great. I remember we both knew somebody that did the test, and on several occasions when I knew the two members of this group that was local here, they asked if I'd go with them, and I was like, no, nothing about that sounds fun. Also, if we know the history of brothers in any sort of horror film, it does not last well for us. So, no, thank you. Um, I know I worked at the radio station at the time, and we were actually working together to get a promotion where they would have a bus full of people. We would do about 10, 15 people.
Mhm.
If they won this contest, they got to go on a ghost hunt with this group. And then legal completely shut it down. They're like, absolutely not. This just like seems like a lawsuit nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, you think if someone has a heart attack or someone freaks out or someone falls,
Yeah.
yeah, they were gonna go to this house. It was probably the house that you're talking about in Indiana here that's like super haunted. But if you are part of that group and you listen or you know somebody, reach out to one of us. I'd love to get you onto the shows. Um, Alex does Alex does it, but it's not like they're gonna like show videos. They're just gonna tell stories and talk about things they've
Oh.
seen.
I'm the opposite of Ghostbusters. I'm afraid of ghosts.
I mean, I don't want them in my house.
Yeah. Maybe it'll
I
happen
mean,
though, you know? We don't know if ghosts can go through the TV or whatever. It's like Doctor Who with the weeping angels, you know? Like if you're
no.
watching a recording of a weeping angel, that means that it's a real weeping angel. So,
Well, I have enough animals to tell me if that happens because cats and dogs see things first.
it's true.
So if that's the case, we'll be moving.
I have no
Um,
animals here. So, the only thing I have or I will have soon is a Homestar Runner and a Strong Bad plush. Dangeresque will save me.
if your strong bad starts going off in the middle of the night,
Because it's a yeah, because that the strong bad's a talking strong bad, so he'll just be like, "Oh man, there's a ghost over here," and just
he
be
starts talking, it's time to move.
yeah,
Time to move.
you
Ugh.
get the giblies or whatever he says, the giblies. Um, but man, yeah, this I knew this was gonna happen, but yeah, this episode kind of went somewhere else, and that's completely okay because that's what happens with these episodes if you're new here. Um, if you're not new here, what do you expect? Um,
Exactly.
yeah. Um, thing. Never mind. I'll talk about this after the show. um, I thought about something. I was like, did we do this yet? And I don't know if I want to bring up things on the show because then I don't want to put ourselves in a pickle of like now we have to do this because I said this. Um, not that whatever, but yeah, no, we appreciate everyone who has ever watched, listened, interacted. um yeah, you can find us on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, x.com, the worst URL on face of the earth. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, you can find us pretty much anywhere. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/get gaming. You can find that Cryptmaster review and watch it all the way because it's only like 5 minutes, so really helps if you watch the whole thing. We also are on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Pandora.
Yeah, we're on Pandora,
Yeah, we're on like
iHeartRadio.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, we literally Amazon Music,
yeah,
you
Amazon
name it,
Music
we're
even.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is crazy because like we know some people who wanted to be on like Amazon Music or some of these places and they're not. And yet, because we've just been here forever and we're consistent enough, that they like us. So I think it's
And
pretty cool. We've only missed one episode, I think, technically.
yeah, that's the one where, like, if you remember correctly, I was like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna try and get us on Amazon Music," and so you're like, "Okay, let's see what happens." I was like, "Holy crap, we're on there!" You're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Pandora was the one that didn't even inform us. I had filled out all the paperwork, said, "Hey, we want to be on there." Filled out everything about ourselves, what we talk about, nothing, and then all of a sudden, Alex is like, "Hey, we're on Pandora now." I'm like, "Are we
Hmm.
really?" So yeah, but Amazon, we got on pretty early.
Yeah.
They were looking for different genres of things,
Hmm.
and we got on really early because they weren't doing podcasts at that point,
Yeah.
and then they wanted to, so we lucked out.
Yeah, they
How
didn't
you get
they
on there?
didn't know that we weren't super famous, and somehow we still
No.
got on there.
Hey, we're on there with the big boys though. That's all that matters.
Exactly. So if you're listening to us on Amazon, you should go to Twitter and you should go find us and add us on Twitter and tell us that you're watching us on or listening to us on Amazon because I'd be really interested to see because there's certain numbers and things that we just can't see. I'm always interested in the algorithm and the analytics and all that kind of stuff. We don't live and breathe it though. We kind of just do our own thing and just try to be consistent. But at the same time, it's just always interesting to see what hits, what doesn't. So if we do want to make this a more even more professional thing, then we know what to do to increase our productivity and engagement and other buzzwords that I can't think about. Um, but yeah, it'd just be interesting to see some of that because so far, like we used to see a little bit more, and then when Anchor got bought out by Spotify, I see like we see a lot more just Spotify specific stuff, and so it's not as broad as it used to be. So it'd just be kind of interesting to see some of these things, but again, that doesn't really matter. That's kind of just me rambling about things that I want to see. But we appreciate you being here wherever you're at. Again, you can find us on youtube.com/GetAtGaming. If you are um, watching this instead, you can find us on pretty much any podcast services, like we said before. This is a bi-weekly show. However, due to vacation and stuff like that, this episode is coming out or came out, I guess, a little bit different. So it's we have two episodes in a row. Um but yeah, we hope you enjoyed this. We're enjoying doing that's not that's not proper English. I don't know. I'm not tired. I'm about to sneeze. So I'm focusing more on the sneeze, you know. But yeah, no, we enjoy doing this podcast. If we didn't, then I would have stopped a long time ago. I mean, obviously, you know, there are days probably for you as well where it's just like I like doing this, but I'm tired. Or I like doing this, but I have something tomorrow that I have to focus on or something like that, you know? But thankfully, because we have those long winter breaks, that kind of mitigates that issue now. So we don't have that burnout as much as we used to.
Yeah, I think this year we might even take. We haven't just fully discussed it. This is just a thought that we may take like all of November and December off, just because we a lot of our episodes that we pre-record, a lot of them are not specifically set towards a time frame, and so and you guys still love those episodes. They do really well. But for Alex and I, it really does give us a break. And the holidays are always the most hectic, the most stressful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know he said it. I appreciate you guys as well. You know, we would if we didn't think or have fun with this, we wouldn't still be doing it. I'd love to hit like episode 500. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Um, and the rate we're going, we will probably do that. So thank you to everybody else, and thank you to all the listeners. So
Yeah. Um, do you have anything else you'd like to tell the lovely people at home?
uh, no, just to get at it. Happy 200th episode.
I don't know how to respond to that. I guess I'll say get at it.